Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Hello friends, நம்ம வந்து civil services examinationல மெயின்ஸ்ல GS paper 4 ethics, integrity and aptitude paper பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். அதுல we are talking about the topic relating to contributions of the thinkers and philosophers from India and the world அப்படின்ற டாபிக் வந்து we are discussing. As part of it, we are discussing the concepts of ethics through Tirukkural. We are trying to understand concepts of ethics through Tirukkural. So Tirukkural அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டண்ட்டான it is something that is inevitable and unavoidable treatise in the Indian context. அந்த வகையில் we have been discussing about the right scepter. அதுல இன்னொரு முக்கியமான குறள், அது probity-னா என்ன, ethics in governance. Why probity is important to governance and how is Tirukkural relevant to civil service அப்படிங்கிறத பத்தி நம்ம பார்த்துட்டே இருக்கோம். அதுல வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் குறள் என்ன அப்படின்னா, the couplet number 546 in the chapter right scepter. Okay, what is this? இந்த குறள் என்ன சொல்லுது அப்படின்னா, வேலன்று வென்றி தருவது மன்னவன் கோல் அதுவும் கூடாதெனின். இப்போ இதுல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா there is something symbolic. வேல் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா the weapon, right? The king, it is not by the force a ruler succeeds but by the ethical governance. அது how does a ruler succeed? Does he succeed by suppressing his enemies? Yes, it's very important. Suppression of enemies. And to safeguard the territorial integrity of the state, the nation. It's more important, no doubt about it. However, the territorial integrity, see, here I would like to remind you of what you read as part of history, something called as Janapada. History படிச்சிருப்பீங்க Janapada. Janapada means a land occupied by or land inhabited by a set of people, a population is called as Janapada. Without this Janapada, the ruler is irrelevant. அது என்னன்னா, மக்கள் வாழக்கூடிய ஒரு நிலப்பகுதி இல்லாம ஒரு மன்னன் அப்படிங்கிறவங்களுக்கு வந்து ரெலவென்ஸே கிடையாது. That's why if you look at the Constitution of India, first it talks about land and territory, then it talks about citizenship, then it talks about rights, அப்புறம் தான் government. அப்போ most important is Janapada. In that, again, in the Janapada, the most important factor is Jana, the people. See, what are you going to rule if there is a land alone without being occupied by, inhabited by people? There are no citizens. Who are you going to govern? Who are you going to rule? Appo, the Janapada is very, very important. Holding a Janapada, having a territory occupied by, inhabited by people, and protecting that territory to ensure his suzerainty, to ensure his authority. What is required? Most important is suppression of enemies. Because when it comes to security, there are two aspects. One is external security, the other is internal security. External security refers to the security threats caused by aggression of the enemies, aggression by the enemies. Internal security is more relating to law and order. Is it these two enough to ensure that a kingdom is, a Janapada is safe and secure? அப்படின்னு கேட்டா திருவள்ளுவர் என்ன சொல்றாரு? No. Although they are fundamental, although they are very, very important, what is more important is good governance with ethical connotation. Right? Good governance based on ethics. It is this that will keep your, it is this that will keep your territory intact without having a concern for people, without considering the people. If you are going to focus more on external enmity and maintenance of law and order, all that what it will become is cruel scepter. Next chapter தான் திருக்குறள்ல cruel scepter. A king who gives more importance to only the law and order. நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா police state னு சொல்லுவோம். See, we cannot be a police state. A police state is not a welfare state. A military a state with very strong military powers, very strong police protocols, law and order protocols, it can be a very neat and tidy, clean administration at the outset. But do people live happily there? Is that state that's going to focus on the welfare? Definitely not. அதுதான் சொல்றாரு, வேல் அன்றி வென்றி தருவது மன்னவன் கோல் அதுவும் கோடாதனின். என்ன சொல்றான் பாருங்களேன், விளக்கம் என்னன்னா, ஆட்சியாளருக்கு வெற்றி தருவது ஆயுதம் என்று அவருடைய நேரிய ஆட்சி. நேரிய ஆட்சி ரொம்ப முக்கியமான வார்த்தை. It's a very important terminology. நேரிய ஆட்சி எது? குடிமக்களை வாழ வைக்கும் வளையாத செங்கோல். இப்போ you recall what is impartiality, what is compassion. Impartiality நடுநிலைமை. செங்கோல்னா you should not, the needle of ethics, the needle of the compass should not be varying here and there. It has to be straight forward, it has to be straight. What is right has to be done. About what is ethical governance? What is the importance of ethics? Doing the right things right. அப்போ வேல் என்று வென்றி தருவது மன்னவன் கோல் அதுவும் கோடாதனேன். All right, sir, I understood this, but how is it relevant to civil services examination? You said we are trying to understand ethics through Tirukkural. Where is the answer for that? The relevant topic here for this Kural is democracy and bureaucracy. அல்லது bureaucracy and democracy. In the topic பாருங்க, bureaucracy and democracy is found in ethics paper. It's also found in public administration, both paper 1 and paper 2, as well as in governance. எல்லாத்துலயுமே இருக்கு. So what is democracy and what role does bureaucracy play to uphold democracy? And in that sense, how is this Tirukkural relevant to bureaucracy? சரி, இப்போ today we don't have, in a democracy there is no ruler. We only have the administrators and the political executives. Nobody is a ruler. Democracy, people are the ruler. Popular sovereignty. The sovereignty lies not with the ruler but with the people. The sovereignty is delegated to the rulers. Meaning rulers. When I say rulers, it is within quotes. When you become an IAS officer or when you become a bureaucrat, don't think that you are rulers. You are rulers within quotes, meaning you are delegated. People through the electoral government upwardly delegate their authority to the government, political executives and the parliament and legislature. From there, you get it as an officer. So, it is not your force, it is not your authority, it is not your power that is going to create a clean administration which is devoted to welfare of the people, but it is your koladuvun kodadanin. It is your ethical governance. How do you govern? You recall in the previous videos I have told you, how does governance take place? Governance take place through policies. Through policies, through legislations. Through legislations, through projects and schemes. So, இந்த இடத்துல கோல் அதுவும் கோடாதேன் இதான் விஷயம். There is a constitution which sets a boundary. That sets a boundary that clearly demarcates your authority. It imposes restrictions upon your authority, how to use it, how not to use it, through the concept of fundamental rights and DPSP. The fundamental rights and DPSP are the conscience of the constitution. You cannot have a policy, you cannot have a legislation that is overlooking the conscience. You cannot silence the conscience of the constitution. If you attempt to do that, then that will be struck down by the court as null and void through the process of judicial review. So that's a separate thing. Put that aside as of now. Now, when you as an officer, when you're implementing policy or when you're part of policy formulation process. See, when it comes to policy making, there are different stages. Policy is formulated, policy implementation, policy is evaluated. There are different stages. At every point in time, you have to perform these functions with this as your benchmark criterion. Pol aduvum kodadinin. You cannot get away from the constitutional values. You cannot get away. You cannot just like that overlook the constitutional values. You cannot overlook fundamental rights. You cannot overlook the details. You cannot overlook the philosophy of constitution as prescribed in the preamble to the constitution. So, if the democracy is to be upheld, then it is in the hands of the bureaucrats. It's in the hands of the bureaucracy. So, the bureaucracy must ensure that it is in their hands, right? It is in their hands. It is their thought process. It is their advice which is going to help the political masters to achieve the promises whatever they have given to the people during the election, and the welfare of the people is ensured. So this is very much relevant to this. We shall revisit this Quran maybe later while doing the governance, particularly when we discuss this topic called the bureaucracy and democracy. So it is not the authority, it is not the force by which one can provide good governance, one can provide ethical governance, but it is the value systems, right? The value systems, which means the bureaucracy has to have an abiding faith in the democratic system, abiding faith in democracy, for which what is more important is to accept and imbibe in themselves democracy as a fundamental value of the governance. So that is what is the relevance and importance of this Tirukkural. Let us discuss more Tirukkural in the subsequent videos. Thank you very much.